If stories are soul food, and they are, this world of starving souls needs many, many more true and good and beautiful stories. For those stories to exist, the world first needs more storytellers. Storytellers with every aspect of their craft firmly rooted in the only possible source of truth, goodness, and beauty. Storytellers who are more interested in imitating and honoring the one true storyteller than they are interested in this world's acclaim. The Camperdown Writers Kiln at New St. Andrews College. Limited enrollment, low residency, Christ-centered. Currently seeking men and women to help us feed the world. Apply now.
What would you get?
Not Christmas music.
What would you get if Boniface came back in our day?
Michael Cassidy?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you already knew the answer. You already knew the answer to that.
I've already called him. I said his man got taken over by the spirit of Boniface and went to wreck and shop. That's what I said.
Hey, y'all, welcome to CrossPolitic on the Fight Laugh Feast.
I feel
Network.
God right there.
We're counting down. We got this show, and then right after this show, the next show is our wives show.
Yeah, that's right.
You got
Last
our
show of the
wives,
year.
the best, the show that our audience likes the most.
Right.
We actually theorized.
I still don't know why.
We actually theorized that our audience listens to that show every year and puts up with the rest so they can get back to that show at the end of the year.
I think it's true.
Yeah,
That's true. Hey, this show is particularly brought to you by 7 Weeks Coffee. It's 7 weeks of development. Right. A baby is the size of a coffee bean. Of a coffee bean.
Isn't that amazing?
Whoa.
Oh man! For the first time, a heartbeat is clearly detectable. 7 Weeks Coffee proudly partners and supports over 750 pregnancy centers nationwide. With each order placed, you're directly helping to fund our network of over 750 pro-life organizations across the country. For more information and to order some of their delicious, life-saving coffee, visit 7weekscoffee.com. Again,
goodness.
that's 7 Weeks Coffee.
And look at the little heartbeat.
You know,
Right. I wonder why I'm not drinking any 7 Weeks Coffee right now.
Because it's too late and your bedtime's right after this.
there's so many different analogies you can work it through with this.
No, it's really fun. Hey, it's still Christmas time, so we're giving away
Yes.
gifts to our pub members. Everybody that's been a pub member is entered in a drawing, and we're giving away a Francis Fukushan book, Food for Thought. We're giving away what else? Coffee.
Coffee. 7 weeks actually.
Okay.
This
bag of coffee?
this
One of these?
7 weeks bag is being given away. We opened this one for our studio.
Okay, we're giving
so
away.
this one's being given away.
We're not
and then
giving away the open one.
2 coffee. Yeah, because that'd be weird. 2 coffee cups and then a
apron.
Apron.
An
There
apron.
we go. There we
All
go.
right. Okay.
This is a great gift. I mean, it's Christmas. You want to feast.
All right.
Club members
Here we
are
go.
feasting with us. We appreciate y'all's support. And the winner of today is Cole S.
All
Hey,
right.
much better.
Cole S.
Cole
Cole, you'll be getting an email from us to get your address and all that stuff, and we'll be shipping things
Thank
out
you,
to
Cole.
man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. We're so grateful to have with us on the show 2 of our friends, Mr. Davis Younts. He's just a dude.
He's our lawyer.
He's just our lawyer.
Official CrossPolitic
He
lawyer.
won't admit it, but I mean,
Yeah.
We don't send him any money yet.
we get all sorts of free advice bringing him on the show, and he thinks like we really got issues, and so he keeps coming on the show. He feels bad for us.
Thank you, Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Davis.
And Michael Cassidy, the new the Boniface we didn't know we needed
2.0.
Christian Navy vet, most recently known for smashing the Satanic idol in Iowa, the Iowa Capitol building. So Davis and Michael, thanks for joining us on CrossPolitic.
Thank you.
All right.
Davis, you gonna say hi? Or you just
No,
gonna sit
he
there
didn't
and laugh?
wanna- he
He's
didn't
gonna sit there and laugh.
No,
I mean,
I'm not in the mood for it. I'm not in the mood.
it's midnight East Coast time.
He was like, wait, what? You think I'm your lawyer? Davis, Michael, I think it would be most helpful for you to just, I know you probably told this story 100 times now, but you're not done. What happened? There was this like weird, like, I don't know, pool noodle Satan
thing.
altar set up in the Iowa State Capitol building. You're from Mississippi. And
did you drink like too much Bud Light or something in Mississippi?
no, he couldn't have done that and gone up and smashed an idol.
Come on, Gabe.
He was drinking Guinness or something.
They should give you a sponsorship, by the way.
Guinness.
Michael,
be a man like Michael.
Smash idols.
Walk us through what happened, man.
So I saw that they had this idol up in Iowa, and that was maybe a week ago, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, who puts Satan in government buildings? Who thinks Satan is good? Satan is evil. And I saw it. I didn't think about it for a couple of days. Then I saw it maybe Monday or Tuesday that it was still there, and that people have been talking about it, but nobody was actually, and the government was taking it down. And then on the Wednesday afternoon, midday sometime, I saw that it was still there. And, I was following more my heart, I would say, that I felt I needed to go to Iowa. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Field of Dreams back, like Kevin Costner baseball movie. Sure. And at the end of the movie, I think James Earl Jones, he's saying, people they'll go to Iowa and they won't exactly know why. And they'll just kind of go there and blah, blah, blah. And it honestly, it was kind of like that when I flew in. And then the next day, I wasn't sure exactly what would happen. I certainly thought about a couple different things, but I didn't know what I was going to see when I got there. I didn't know exactly where this statue, icon, whatever it is, where it was. So I went in there into the Capitol, and nobody was there. There was some, I think, a Catholic man who was praying Latin and English, and I didn't really know what he was doing, but there wasn't any security. There weren't any protesters. There weren't any pro-Satanists. There's just that one man there. And when I saw the actual statue of that goat, the devil, their interpretation of the devil, it struck another nerve. And then, it took a couple minutes to kind of collect my thoughts and think about what, honestly think about what kind of risk I would take, personally, with whether going to jail, maybe getting fired, all sorts of things. And then I thought that, that's something that that makes sense, ttalking to other people. That's pretty, I think, human thing to think about, that we're concerned about the things of the world. But then I thought about trying to explain that to Jesus, and that, how could I say, I care more about, flying an airplane, if that's what it comes down to, than doing what's right by God. And that's really, it was, again, much more of a discussion inside my heart. Then I had no plan on what was going to happen next. After, I did what I did to the statue. Again, no alarms were blaring. No security came running over. No tourists were there to take pictures. So I went back around to the security entrance, and I told them what I did. And they said, okay, well, we got to call the cops. And I said, yeah, I assume so. And they did. And then cops came over after a few minutes. We talked for a little bit, and they ended up, I gave them my phone number and all that. They let me go. Yeah. Yeah, they straight up let me go, and they said, hey, we'll give you a call in case the higher ups decide to do anything, because they've been talking to the higher ups for a while. And then they said, no, yeah, you just go and, give a call back, and or we'll give you a call or send you certified mail or whatever it is. But then it didn't take a week. It took about 15 more minutes. And then they ended up, they gave me a call, and so, I mean, I missed it, but I called them right back, and yeah, sure enough, it was them. They said, "Hey man, come on by the station and we'll give you this citation." And so, so I went back over to their office, and got the citation, and then went on my way.
And the cops were just doing their job.
They were professional. They were professional in their actions.
Michael, you alluded to it, but I think it would just be actually helpful. I mean, what exactly did you do to the statue? Like, I think I heard you pulled off its head or something like that. But like, I mean, I'd love to just hear you explain exactly what you did.
To be frank, it was kind of a blur. It's not like it wasn't one of those things that, you remember perfectly clearly exactly what happened. But I took the first thing I did was take the head off, which was pretty easy to do. And then I think I pushed the statue over, took the robes off. You can see in the picture, it's just some like pool noodle mannequin.
Yeah.
Then tore up the head, put it in a plastic bag, all the whatever, like garbage. I mean, the whole thing's garbage.
Right.
But the things that were like that, were on the ground or whatever, I put them in the bag. Any candles or whatever that have been knocked out, outside of their little rectangle of that they were allotted by the state government, I put everything back into that little rectangle so people wouldn't be tripping on anything. And then, so that's what I did.
Yeah. Spirit of Boniface. Didn't I say it? Spirit of Boniface. I told y'all. That boy went Boniface on it.
Yeah.
So I want to know, and maybe this is where, Davis, you come in too. What was it that you expected the civil magistrates to do? So it sounded like that when you got there, you're like, I can't believe they still are allowing this thing to be up. What is it that you expected their response to be to this whole situation?
You mean once I turned myself in? Well, I thought there were going to be cops there. I did not know. I did not have an expectation of what would happen. I thought there was a chance, when I made the decision there and nobody's there, that I turned myself in, and then they'd send me to jail. Or arrest me, book me. I never got arrested. That's something I saw in the AP, I think, and a few other news places. Never got arrested. I don't have a mug shot. A lot of people are asking about that. There's no mug shot. Yeah. But I got so I thought, hey, maybe I'll go to jail. And then, I mean, I don't know, like if I didn't know if there's going to be bail, if there's going to be, I'd get released. I mean, I didn't know.
Well, I mean, I guess part of it too is I'm wondering, like, when you go and you show up there at the Capitol, you're obviously expecting that surely there's somebody here who is a representative that is like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah, the governor's got staff in there. Like, I thought, maybe there's staff, maybe there's some politician I can yell at and say, hey, like, what are y'all doing? But truly, there's nobody there. There's nobody there.
Wow.
It seems that you're doing their job for them.
Davis, I don't know if it's something maybe you can speak to, but like, is there precedent for a Satan shrine in the public square? I mean, is there precedent for this? Is this something that is like surprising to you? Has this happened elsewhere? What can you say about that?
The only recent case I'm aware of where it's happened is, I think 2 years ago, there was a similar type of display that was erected in the Illinois State House that was somewhat controversial. But there really hasn't been a rash of states that have allowed this, and certainly hasn't been all that many attempts to do this. So there's really only one recent example.
Davis, just following up on that, is there a constitutional right to have a Satan shrine in a a Capitol building?
So great question. And there's not good case law that suggests that what this organization stands for has ever been recognized as a religion by any of our courts. And so that's something that should have been challenged here, right? That's part of the whole point. The state of Iowa, the leaders that make the decisions when someone applies to put up a display could have fought this and could have said, no, we're going to say no to this because this is evil, and dealt with it there. And then this organization would have had to, bring litigation potentially if they decided to. That never happened. That's part of the problem. No one ever even tried to stand up to this, despite the fact that there isn't case law that would suggest this would be protected speech as done in the way it was done in this case.
What would you say to those who are like, Michael, and I'd love Michael's input and Davis, but what would you say, Michael, that you're against free speech? You're against
just asking what he would say to Jen Ellis. Just get it out, Gabe.
Jen Ellis, that's cool.
That's what you want to say.
Do you hate freedom? You're a bigot, Michael. Against freedom.
No, historically, like our founders, the 99.9% of the country back in the 18th century were all Christians. The founders were overwhelmingly Christian. The state governments were Christian. I think 9 out of 13 of the original colonies at some point actually had a state religion, which it's not what I'm talking about. But the idea of a freedom of religion is so that you can have, freedom of worship, but all within the general framework of, the worship of God. And Satanism turns that all upside down. It mocks Christianity. Satan's the father of evil. And the idea that the founders, when they're writing their documents, whether it's constitutions or whatever, that they would have contemplated Satan getting a prominent display in a Capitol building where you have children walking around, families walking around. Actually, one thing that I got I've gotten a lot of hate mail and that kind of thing. The one that really stood out to me was from a dad who was unhappy with me because he didn't have the chance to show his kid, I think his daughter, the statue of Satan. How diseased is our society that you've got this dad who's trying to indoctrinate his daughter in a positive representation of the devil. Wow. And it's just, it's such a sad state that our nation is in, where a dad wants that for their kid. I can't fathom it.
I kind of actually, not to make it worse, but like I immediately think of like we have these like drag queen story hours going on where people are taking their kids to see drag queens.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, that's right.
These cross-dressing men with, their, private parts hanging out and stuff like this. Making a mockery of women, making a mockery of mothers and sisters. And somehow parents think that this is somehow like this sort of cultural experience, or somehow it is broadening their minds or their horizons. I can't help but imagine like this dad is thinking something similar. Like it's like this weird, perverse, like multiculturalism, like on crack. It's like like the more exposed to different things you are, like the more human you are. But it's really bizarre and sad.
Right. Well, it's funny to me because like one of Jenna Ellis's arguments is Christians who are for what Michael did are just another version of BLM.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the Doug actually brought this up recently in one of his blog posts. Like I think it's against with Kevin DeYoung or whatever. But like it's really important to understand that this is not that.
Right.
This what Michael did of taking down the idol is not that of BLM going and destroying billions of dollars of property.
Right.
And this is more like What ties the LGBT and the transgender,
not just any property, police stations,
all that stuff. But what ties everything together is the transgendered display is an abomination to God. God defines what this is. God defines what that is.
Right.
What ties everything together is the transgendered display is abomination to God. The devil being displayed in public in a positive way is abomination to God.
Right.
That's what makes this.
Right.
Versus this, that.
Right. Yeah.
Guys, I would really love to hear, and Davis, we can start with you. When somebody says something like that, because it wasn't just Jenna, it wasn't just her. I was surprised. I thought this would have been more of a rallying cry for all Christians everywhere, just to be like, because here's what I didn't see. I didn't see Christians say, I don't like the way he did it, but I'm sure glad it's gone.
Right.
Now, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I saw a lot more of like, oh man, what's next? And I'm like, yeah, that's a good question. Now, I know y'all can't say that. And I'm not trying to make y'all's court case and anything like that. But I'm just saying, what do you say to somebody like Jenna who assumes like, yeah, this is just like the complete opposite of or the opposite version of BLM?
Well, it's not, and this is simply a question of good and evil, right? And our ability to try to understand that. But part of it just shows how much we've bought into the myth of neutrality in the public square, right? We as Christians are afraid to even call evil in the public square. And certainly we can't survive as a society if the answer is, well, if A can happen, then every other potential consequence that goes along with that can happen as well. That's simply not how it works. That's not how the law works. And certainly, we have a nation that recognizes certain fundamental principles, but it is our Christian faith. It is Christianity that gives freedom. It isn't secular humanism that gives freedom. Secular humanism always leads to tyranny. It leads to Darwinian tyranny, communism, and all of that. So if we want freedom, it comes from an understanding of God's law, of biblical Christian faith, because it's about peace and love and God working in people's hearts and changing and giving blessing to our land, not force. That's what Satan is about. That's what the other side of this debate is about. So I don't think it's a fair correlation. I don't think it's a good example. It's certainly something that we need to discuss. But, I'm encouraged by the fact that we can have this discussion and we can talk about the dangers of the myth of neutrality as well.
Michael, I want to hear this. I'd like to hear the same actually question that Knox just asked. I'd like to hear from you. Like, in your mind, like, I don't know if you were watching the riots during 2020 and sort of the BLM stuff burning down the mostly peaceful protests.
Well, sure. Even just in Iowa recently, they couldn't have a manger scene in front of the what was it? It was a fire department.
Is that right?
They had to take it down there and get sued.
What distinguishes in your mind what you did from the BLM riots?
Besides the money.
Well, I think it was alluded to just a minute or two ago that I didn't come up with some a big, logical political argument when I did this. I was acting out of a very simple truth that God is good and the devil is bad, and that we should be promoting the devil. It seems like there should be more there, but it really is that simple.
Yeah.
And that we should be praising God.
Yeah.
We should oppose the works of the devil, and that it's not, even though I was talking a little bit ago about, how the country was founded and all of that stuff's true. When we start talking about more of the, comparing like what I did with what other people have done, we go away from the core truth, which is we should be able to say as Christians in the public sphere that God is good and should be praised, and the devil is evil, and that we shouldn't be playing semantic games about, oh, well, the devil, we've got to give the devil the same space as Christians. And that's just, when we start making that argument, we lose what our strongest argument is, which is just God is good, the devil's bad. It's really that simple.
Yeah, that's a real. I mean, amazingly,
God, Jesus, Bible.
Yeah, no,
the Bible literally says, "Resist the devil, and he'll flee from you."
Well, but you think about, like, I mean, if the devil is, sort of the incarnation of all that is evil, then that really does mean, though, that there's no logical reason why you cannot celebrate any other evil.
Yeah.
Like, why not have a public display to, white supremembercists? Why not have a public display
of an orgy?
To orgies,
orgy worship to Satan,
pedophilia, or
remember the LA Dodger thing,
murder or theft or whatever. Anyways, Van Gelder Technologies is a U.S.-based custom software development company specializing in cross-platform mobile applications, web applications, and desktop programs. Leveraging open source frameworks, they quickly and efficiently build custom software solutions that are tailor-made to fit your specific needs. There's no need for new Christendom companies to be content with offering subpar mobile or web experiences. Van Gelder Technologies can help you build better software for the glory of God. You can learn more, view examples of their work, or get in touch at www.vangelder.tech, T-E-C-H, that's VANGELDER.TECH, Van Gelder Technologies, where technology and tradition meet.
So, guys, where is the case at now? And
here it is on the screen real quick, just so you can see the picture.
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
That's the head, I think.
And then you see the trash bags like puffing out of the.
What is the state of the case right now? And overall, I guess, Davis, this is for you.
And maybe what are the specific charges?
The charges or the citation that you guys had.
Yeah.
And what do you want to happen?
Yeah, great question. So what has been filed right now is Michael has been cited for criminal mischief in the 4th degree, which is a misdemeanor in the state of Iowa. So that's the specific charge that he has been cited for. And so, honestly, my hope at the end of this is that the charges are dismissed. The elected officials, the leaders of the state of Iowa, didn't take a stand against evil. They have an opportunity to do that now by simply dismissing these charges and not moving forward. That's within their discretion to do this. There's precedent for that based on prosecutorial discretion of a lesser magistrate exercising their authority appropriately. They can do that here. And again, I think it's really, really important to understand this was peaceful. This was nonviolent. This was in no way disruptive of anyone. And quite frankly, no one would have known it had been done if Michael hadn't turned himself in and submitted himself to the authorities. So those are all factors when you look at this that suggest that this case could, a good message could be sent, a message for law and order and justice could be sent by dismissing these charges and moving forward from here. And hopefully the magistrates in Iowa will understand that is an appropriate reaction to what happened.
Michael, what do you hope comes from all this?
I hope that for Christians that they will understand that even when it's tough to do the right thing by God, that's what Jesus calls us to do. It's especially when things are tough. We're supposed to, not be ashamed of him and of his words. And it can be very easy in modern society for people to be ashamed of Jesus. So I want Christians to, reinvigorate their faith, to spread their faith, to spread the gospel to their friends and community. And for non-Christians that may have not really been paying attention, but kind of just maybe in their heart, their brain, they know that statues of the devil are wrong, that they can perhaps talk to some of their Christian friends and understand, what would possess somebody to, like me, to take the risk to my own personal career, to risk going to jail because of my faith. Like how do you have such a faith? How does that develop?
Yeah.
Why do I believe the things that I believe? And hopefully non-Christians can, look at that and come to the faith. Those are the big things that I'm looking for. And we'll see how that works.
I really appreciated following your Twitter the last few days, Michael, seeing your really encouragement to Christians to not merely have a private faith, a personal faith, but or Christmas and Easter faith, but to actually be plugged into a Bible-believing church, to be a part of a community of believers.
Yeah.
I really have appreciated that encouragement, and if nothing else, I hope a bunch of maybe people who have kind of a private faith, or I believe in Jesus, but I just kind of I read my Bible occasionally and pray occasionally on my own, are reinvigorated to join up, link up with other Christians in Bible believing churches. I think that's been a really profoundly helpful encouragement, and so I'm really grateful for that.
And if a few Iowa reps, I don't know, want to start doing some of the right thing and wanted to give some money to your campaign, to your fundraising for your lawyer fees, where would they go and do that at?
It's givesendgo.com/Michael-Cassidy.
Okay.
Oh, that's really good.
Very good.
You guys keep up the good work. Keep us posted. We want to know what's going on
Appreciate
and
you
how we'll be
guys.
praying for you guys. This is interesting. You guys got an interesting Friday ahead.
Little courage begets courage.
That's right. Amen.
We learned that.
Yes.
That's right.
Amen.
All right. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is CrossPolitic.
What we must be is a people that are ready to war for truth, for righteousness, for the kingdom. In short, what we need to do is we need to dress up for the occasion, ladies and gentlemen. To forsake the cliches of the secular and the cliches of the Christian culture. And we need to march to a different tune that's led by angelic choirs rather than masqueraded demons. Because Satan knows the crucial target. He's seen the war. He knows where to target. He has inspected the holy places. He knows where the weaknesses of your faith are. And so we uphold it. We defend the faith together this week. We defend the faith once and for all, delivered to the saints. We need to understand what precisely are the devil's schemes. We need to learn to speak the truth boldly. We need to fight for the kingdom and to live rightly in the sight of God and man. And so this evening and throughout this week, you are called to be a priestly people. The kind of priestly people that engages the darkest enemy that you'll ever engage. And you're going to engage the darkest enemy, whose name we know, Satan. And we're going to engage him not mildly. We're going to engage him by wearing our baptismal attire, by wearing that which God has given us. We carry the name of Jesus wherever we go because Jesus is our righteousness.